Hello, everybody, and welcome to Eat, Sleep, List right here on YouTube. It is Fun List Friday. I am Matt Johnson, your host, and happy belated National Pokemon Day, everybody. So excited. At the time this episode releases, it will have been yesterday. If you like Pokemon, this is going to be probably the quintessential and maybe the only Pokemon list that we ever do. We might find a way to do that, to do it another time. But this is going to be the quintessential Pokemon list. Let's get to work. Gotta list them all. All right. So I've been looking at this website, this calendar website that has all these obscure holidays, and I was thinking, like, Pokemon, it's always been a part of my life for the most part. And when is National Pokemon Day? There has to be one. And fortunately, I looked when I did, because February 27th, which was yesterday, as far as when this episode drops, was National Pokemon Day. So I think I mentioned it at the end of the last episode. Usually I like to get ahead on things. I feel like holidays are best talked about, celebrated in the build up to it, because after it, there's really not much interest. It's like releasing a Christmas episode, like a week or two of a podcast or anything, a week or two after Christmas is over. It just doesn't hit the same. But I'm very firm in that I wanted to keep it on Friday, Fun List Friday. Maybe that can be something that's adjusted down the road. But I love Pokemon. Plain and simple, I love Pokemon. That is the reason for this video. But I'm not like I'm not up to date on it. Okay, I love what I know of Pokemon. I'm what some might call a boomer when it comes to Pokemon. All right, my extensive knowledge of Pokemon doesn't extend much out of Generation 1. I did play the Generation 2 games, watch the anime, but after that I kind of fell out of it for a little bit. But I worship and love the generation that I was brought up around. It's the same as, we like to talk about the various generations of Star Wars fans, right? There's the OG generation who everything after the original trilogy is just crap to them, for the most part. It's just crap. It's just not theirs. The various generations of that. There's various generations of Star Trek fans. So much more. So much more. But Pokemon has various generations, and to me is the best pop culture fictional universe that has been created in my lifetime. It has. Obviously, there's always going to be competition from Star Wars. Their lore is always growing, but Star Wars was created back in the 70s, many years before I was born. Marvel, DC, those original ideas were born years way before I was around. For me, I think the two biggest universes, fictional worlds that have been created in my lifetime are Harry Potter and Pokemon. And I think Pokemon personally blows Harry Potter out of the water, just with how they've found to stay culturally relevant year after year after year. I just went to McDonald's and got a Happy Meal the other day, just for myself. I wasn't starving, so I got a kid's meal. And they're doing Pokemon cards, okay? They're still doing Pokemon cards. That is cultural relevancy. But my story around Pokemon, I was super late to the party, I must admit. I was, for a lot of things, I'm almost a contrarian, where if everybody likes something, then I don't like it. And I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it just seems to happen that way. I'm not much of a crowd follower. That's kind of always been my personality, for better or for worse. But the Pokemon craze was so intense that I had no choice but to be a part of it. It might have been my parents that I'm such like that, because they were like, my cousins were into it and my parents didn't quite understand it. And my parents have always kind of been that way too. Like, I love my mom to death, but she used to piss me off. Every like she does call it Pokemon. All right. And it used to drive me nuts. It used to drive me nuts. And I don't know if she did it on purpose or not, but it used to drive me absolutely bonkers. My dad would pick on me, a little bit here and there for it. He didn't really have anything like Pokemon growing up. But for all the trouble that they gave me for liking Pokemon, they were so supportive of me liking it. All right. I have to admit. My mom, I remember her going into Target to buy me my very first pack of Pokemon cards when my urge to be a part of this pop culture trend was just insatiable. It was a fossil pack. It was like, I think Ammonite or Amistar. One of those were in it. But I remember this very vividly because we had just left my sister's. She used to have dance practice on Saturday mornings, and she went and bought a Pokemon book. Supported it fully. My dad didn't really understand it, didn't really love it, but he would still take us to the movies when the Pokemon, the first movie came out, or Pokemon 2000 came out. He still did it. I'm forever grateful for it. But I was absolutely obsessed. I could not get enough of it. I got a Game Boy, had to work for it, worked really hard for it, Game Boy Color, just to play Pokemon games. And my first one wasn't like Blue, Red, or Yellow. My first game wasn't Blue, Red, or Yellow. It was actually the Pokemon trading card video game, which I was obsessed about. I had all the toys. I used to go to Hills, and they used to have the 3-packs, the multi-packs of 3 or 2 packs of the little figures. I was just absolutely obsessed with this. Collected as many cards as I could. Good Lord, what else? I still have my childhood Pokédex. I think Hasbro published it. I probably should have had it ready for this episode, but yeah, like I just absolutely obsessed with this stuff. I lived through the glory years. It is not only is it the greatest fictional world that I ever lived through, that was born in my time of existence, but it is the greatest pop culture fad I have ever seen. I cannot tell you just how insane it was where Pokemon was the be-all, end-all. And then years after falling out with it, seeing it come back so strong with Pokemon Go, right? Pokemon Go was insane. 2015, 2016, I had never seen the Niagara Falls State Park, as beautiful as it is to go see the Niagara Falls. I've never seen that many people there. Hundreds upon hundreds of people will go down there to catch Pokemon. I cannot stress enough how much I love this. All right. I love it all. I really do. And even though I'm not currently up to speed, there's just so many. There's just so many Pokemon. And honestly, I seen there was like a cupcake one, Vanillite, I think it's called. And I'm like, this is getting to be too much. But the OG 150, 151, that is my bread and butter. That is what I stick with, and that is what I worship. Absolutely love Pokemon, and I know I'm speaking to a group of people that, today that love it as well, and love it in their own various ways. So yeah, Pokemon, very, very important to me, my upbringing. And actually, you know what? I got to admit, it's starting to become a nice connection with my son, who's starting to become very, very aware of things. I'll tell him a little bit more about that in my top 10 Pokemon list. So yeah. So I got to come up with lessons for the list somehow, and I can really reach for the bottom of the barrel for a couple of them. But I will say I remember the day that I stopped liking Pokemon. And it's weird that it happened this way. I don't know. It was the day after September 11th in 2001. I don't know what it was. I don't know if that just changed me. Like for 1 second, I enjoyed Pokemon, and the next I'm like, I'm tapped out. Pokemon Digimon, I kind of cast to the side. But I remember that day. But I remember also too, like it wasn't easy to be a Pokemon fan. Like sometimes when you're around, most of my life I've been searching for validation, and when you're not getting that immediate validation for things that you like, it kind of stinks. And when your friends start to fall out of love with it, it kind of stinks. Even though all these people loved it at some point, you try to talk with them, and it deters you. It really does. Um, it kind of upsets me in hindsight that nothing I could do about it, but it upsets me in hindsight that I stopped loving something because other people did, and then I actually ended up coming back to it because everybody loved Pokemon Go. Um, but also, I want people to kind of embrace, if you're seeing this list and maybe Pokemon hasn't been like your thing in a while, um, whether you follow it currently up to date or you kind of just locked it up and left it in your childhood, we gotta embrace our inner child. I think too often we think that when we hit a certain age, we're not allowed to like certain things. And while there is some growing up to do, and sometimes just falling out of love with something it's a natural thing. As adults, we have to embrace our inner child just a little bit, just tap into it. Um, it's sad. Like I try to look at myself some days through my like how I would look at me as a child, right? And it's kind of sad how just beat down, how like sometimes just not passionate about certain things I am anymore. Like I've lost my love of Pokemon. Like football has definitely taken a hit over the last. Like I used to just adore football, and this year was not great for me. It was probably because the Colts are a terribly, terribly run team, but like there's just the passion of a lot of things have been beaten out of me by life, by the world, by going to work, and I'm not interested in that stuff, that kiddie stuff, and whatnot. And I didn't start really loving life again until I started embracing what I used to like. It's okay to like your childhood. It's okay to like stuff from your childhood. It's not like it shouldn't be this frowned upon thing. I was proud of it. At the last studio that I had, I bought one of those Burger King Pokemon posters, and I hung that thing up right in the middle of the room. He had all the toys, the 57, 59, whatever, how many toys there were in that line. I had that on the wall, and I probably displayed it. I embraced my inner child. All right, the years have hardened me quite a bit as far as it made me calloused. Where it's hard to get excited about stuff. Some days I feel like I'm not allowed to be excited about stuff, but that's a whole other problem. But embracing my inner child and trying to find the passion and optimism and innocence that I had a long, long time ago. And really, I think it's much like the movies where making a connection with people. Me and my brother have a very strong Pokemon connection. All right. He has a lot of, if not all of my old cards. He has them in a stash away in a book. He just started collecting again, trying to find certain cards to fill in a book, which I think is really admirable and it's a really cool little hobby, little pursuit. And I'm starting to make that connection with my son now, embracing my inner child. Every day, me and my son wake up, and there's this Pokemon Kids TV YouTube channel. There's this Pikachu dance. There's a bunch of people in Pikachu costumes dancing, and that's what we do. Like that's our morning routine. We start up and he's dancing. He's just sitting there and he's moving to the music, and it's really cool. It's all about connections, using Pokemon as a bridgeway to other people. Me and my cousin Nico had an incredible connection through Pokemon. And I always feel bad for this. I was so jealous because he had all the cool Pokemon games that I one time saved over his Pokemon Silver file for my own. And like that's stuff that still bothers me to this day. But regardless, we still have that connection where we can talk about certain things. And like it's cool when he sees my son with the Pikachu toy, and I could see my cousin get really excited about that sort of thing. It's the connection with people. Pokemon Go brought a lot of people together. I was going out and hunting parties, walking around Elmwood and Buffalo and trying to capture Pokemon. Like, it was just a get-together thing. Use it as a bonding tool. You can use it as a bonding tool as well. Make those connections. I'm sure there's other lessons I could really, really, really reach for, but that's what I got for the Pokemon list. All right, everybody. It is time for my top 10 favorite Pokemon. Of course, this isn't gospel. This is what I like. This is what I have always certainly enjoyed. And yeah, so if you are planning to craft your Pokemon list, think hard. There's obviously a lot. I think there are over 600 at least now. There's a lot to choose from. I stuck to my generation. Okay, I'm not gonna scroll through. I'm not gonna scroll through all of the Pokemon just to kind of think, oh, I like them. No, my special connections are with Gen 1. What I knew when I came into all this. So that is what I'm going to stick with. I am very excited to see what everybody else likes, whatever Pokemon that you decide to put on your top 10 list. So please make sure you send those lists and comment them if you are open to sharing what you like. All right, let's get to it. Number 10. My number 10 is Slowbro. Some about the design of Slowbro always looked really cool to me. Whether it was the way that the shelter looked on his tail, the ability to stand upright. I also really liked the toy. I want to say it's Mattel or Hasbro, but it could be another company. Or maybe Kenner. It might have been Kenner. I really can't remember, but I liked the design of the toy so much that it always stuck with me. I liked the pink color. I like that he was kind of a balance of water and psychic. You're going to notice in my list that I embrace water Pokemon. I would definitely, Cerulean City would be my chef's kiss place to be. But Slowbro has always been that one. Incredibly powerful. Slowpoke was kind of dopey. There was Slowbro, and I think they added Slowking after that. But yeah, Slowbro has always been up there as far as my favorites. That is my number 10. Number 9, love Doug Trio. I don't know what's the way he looks, the three of them together. I also have a really powerful one. I'm replaying Pokemon Yellow right now, and I caught like a level 41, and he's been the face of my Pokemon party for a while. He's just clapping cheeks in Pokemon Yellow. Just use Dig or Slash or whatever. He's just doing great. The Diglett's kind of cute. I did enjoy the Diglett episode in the original Pokemon anime where the Pokemon would not come out of their Pokeballs and fight them. They were disrupting a construction project. Always thought Doug Trio was a really, really cool one. So that is my number 9. Number 8. I'm going to put Pidgeot here. Okay? I'm going to put Pidgeot here. And the reasoning is not for battle purposes. I'm not much of a fighter, okay? Yes, the concept of Pokemon basically revolves around training battles. In my older age, I'm very much a what can I use this Pokemon for? Can we can I use them for traveling purposes? Can we hang out or whatnot? There's going to be a couple on the list that I can use for that specific, for the fighting purposes, of course. Pidgeot's definitely one of them. But, man, if I could cut my car out and just fly on the back of a Pidgeot wherever I needed to go, wonderful. All right? It's big enough to carry humans, if I'm not mistaken. It's just a really cool bird Pokemon. I wrote a Easter story in 3rd grade. And I kept asking, my teacher was very adamant about no Pokemon. So I did it anyways. I wrote about having, coming down on Easter Sunday and having a Pidgey in the room. Something about birds and Easter, I guess, go hand in hand. A Pidgey, and it would evolve into a Pidgeotto. And very silly story, but it was something that I was required to do. So Pidgeot's always been one of those ones for me. When I originally had Pokemon Gold, Pidgeot was the first Pokemon I ever leveled up to 100. And Pokemon Gold was the first Pokemon game that I ever I ever finished. My own version, not my cousin's version that I saved over the save file. So number 8 is Pidgeot. Number 7. This is where the water starts coming into play. If I had an Eevee and I had to make one choice, that choice would be Vaporeon. I love the look. I love the blue color. I love it's like a water, I mean, basically like a water dog, right? Go in the water and you got this water dog playing around you. Very powerful. It was one of the cards that I always wanted when I was younger. I think I'd always get like a Jolteon. I always wanted the Vaporeon. Always wanted it. So that is my number 7. See, I like these for various reasons. Usually it's not like the best reason. I'm going to have some weird reasoning coming up. Number 6. The only reason why this Pokemon is on this list is because the connection it has with myself and my son. Pikachu. All right. I typically do not like mascot characters. As we progress through these various pop culture lists, I like a lot of non-main characters in a lot of things. Sidekicks. Usually the main ones, the main heroes who are I'm constantly told I have to like because they are the mascot character. I don't necessarily like. And there's that contrarian mindset that I was talking about when we basically first started this video. To see how much my son loves Pikachu is awesome. Like, to me, it's the gateway, right? That's the purpose of mascot characters is to really hook people into a property. Mickey Mouse is the gateway to a big world of Disney characters, and Pikachu is that for Pokemon. There's just entire games dedicated to Pikachu, right? Detective Pikachu the movie, Hey You Pikachu the game. All the branding has Pikachu's face on it. The cartoon basically revolved around Ash and his Pikachu for years. But I really love the connection that I have that Pikachu, my son is obsessed with Pikachu. And again, it's how we start our day every morning is watching the Pikachu dance video. So that is my number 6. Number 5, back in the water. This elegant Pokemon would be so cool to surf on. And I'm talking about Lapras. Lapras is like, growing up a big cryptid guy. It's supposed to be the a play on like the Loch Ness Monster, Plesiosaurus, animals. And Lapras is just so elegant. I never had a Lapras card, but I remember seeing the Lapras card for the first time. Beautiful. I love the art style, the holographic effect on it. Lapras was, it was cool. It looked cool. On a personal level, I would love to sit on a Lapras and just hang out on a beach or travel on the open water like that would be ideal. Also, it's pretty powerful too with Ice Beam and whatnot. I love the skill it takes to get a really good Lapras photo in Pokemon Snap. You got to be really quick to get it to come up close to you. But it's one of those ones where if you're not paying attention, you really just don't notice it. I like the skill involved in that. So number 5, Lapras. Number 4, staying in the water. Gyarados is so cool. I've seen a lot of really cool artwork revolving around Gyarados. Some very like a Japanese kind of style artwork revolving around Gyarados. Seen some really cool photos of tattoos of Gyarados. The idea that a Magikarp, this useless fish that's more of a culinary desiccant kind of thing, becomes this powerful monster in the sea was so cool to me. For my first communion, I remember my very first, one of the gifts I got from my friend Jacob at the time was a Dark Gyarados card. I'm pretty sure it was Dark Gyarados, like one of the Team Rocket versions. Because he knew I loved it so much. And that was probably one of my favorite gifts I've ever received in my life. But that Gyarados card was awesome. Really cool. Another Pokemon Snap thing, getting him to appear behind the waterfall to get a good picture of him, the various sounds it makes. Must have must-have Pokemon, and every time I boot up a game. So Gyarados is my number 4. And, you can go swimming on him too. Just chill out on him and go where I got to go. So that's my number 4. Number 3. I loved this one so much. So I used to, I'm not a good artist at all, but I used to draw pictures. Remember growing up, the staircase up to my room, I was in the attic. I was an attic child. I used to draw pictures of all the Pokemon that I knew of, and I had a wall. And one of my favorite ones to do was Haunter, who was my number 3. Haunter, I love the episode where Ash goes to the place and recruits him to fight against Sabrina and Kadabra. It's a fun episode. He shows the most personality of it. And you're going to see with my next selection that there's something about the second stage Pokemon that I adore because they're more often than not forgotten. But also, too, I didn't have anybody to trade with. I didn't have access to a Linksys cable, and the only way to get Gengar was via trade. So Haunter was when I finally got my hands on the various Pokemon games, blue, yellow, red, gold, silver, whatever it may have been. Haunter was it. Evolve Ghastly, get Haunter, and just build him up. And he's actually pretty damn powerful on his own. Just a cool design, cool look. And the card used to terrify me. The card art used to terrify me. Same with Ghastly. It was like this weird 3D Ghastly, and it kind of scared me. But Haunter's my dude at number 3. Number 2. I'm going to put Charmeleon. All right. Charmander, fantastic starter Pokemon. Charizard, one of the most famous Pokemon ever. I remember one of my favorite episodes of Pawn Stars, or segments of Pawn Stars. A guy brings in a bunch of graded Pokemon cards and tries to get like $1 million for graded Charizard cards of various first editions, stuff from Japan, various things. Very powerful Pokemon. But this is where that mainstream, like too mainstream for me kind of angle perception goes. Charmeleon is so I feel like underappreciated. I really fully, truly believe that. 'Cause even in the anime, Ash's time with Charmeleon was not very long. I think it was maybe 4, 5, 6, maybe even 6 episodes tops. Charmander evolves into Charmeleon. You get this whole angle where Charmeleon's kind of not nice. And then I feel like we're right at the episode where they uncover all the fossil Pokemon, Aerodactyl, and Charmeleon evolves into Charizard. And it's just so brief. I like his design. I like his, there's always this fascination with things that you can't control. And there's always a part of you watching that, hoping that Ash would finally tame Charmeleon. It just a vicious Pokemon with the slash and some of the fire attacks. When my Charmeleon toy was one of my favorites when I was younger, so I got to put Charmeleon up there really high. Absolute one of my favorites. I need to find one of the vintage old Charmeleons. And my number 1, it is my favorite starter Pokemon. It is my favorite, obviously favorite type. One of my favorite episodes of the Pokemon TV show, anime, Squirtle. And, the Squirtle Squad, of course. My favorite color is blue. Hint, hint. I like the color blue. And I love the art on the OG Pokemon the Squirtle card. He's on like a rock and he's shooting the bubbles. Absolutely fascinated with Squirtle. Again, the water connection, something I've always loved. Squirtle was a card that I had many different. I would try to collect. Like that was one of the ones I really wanted. I actually have it in my car. I found a bunch of the OG Pokemon cards, and Squirtle was one of them that I had to have. I have a giant Squirtle pillow. It's like a very heavy pillow that I got from Target several years ago. And it's really nice, and my son enjoys it. I'm trying to think what other Squirtle. Oh, My aunt, for Christmas one year, got me a Squirtle watch. It was one of those talking electronic watches. And I wore that thing, and it was cool because every hour, or you could set like an animation. You could push a button. There was like a little Squirtle animation. So yeah, that is he's my number one, the GOAT, and I think a lot of people agree with it too that he's the best Gen 1 starter. Shout out to those. Shout out Team Squirtle. But that is it, everybody. That is my top 10 favorite Pokemon list. I am so excited to see the different combinations that you all have. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for checking out this video. Like, subscribe, comment, email me your lists, please. eatsleeplistpod@gmail.com. I'm looking very much forward to establishing those connections. But that is that. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. You have a great weekend. And till next time, do you even list?